Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Thought channel. Tonight we'll be exploring some of the strangest ideas in psychology that reveal how deep and unusual the human mind can be. Psychology is not only about thoughts and feelings, it is about the hidden rules that shape what you notice, what you remember, and what you believe. Sometimes your mind protects you, sometimes it tricks you, and sometimes it changes your experience before you even know a choice has been made. In this video, we will look at the small mental forces that guide everyday life. Some are familiar once you hear them, yet others feel almost impossible until you realize they happen all the time. Each fact opens a door into the brain's strange way of making sense of the world. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here, to one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is settle in, let your shoulders relax, and notice your eyes grow heavy. And as the day begins to gently fade away, join me as we explore the fascinating psychology behind everyday life together. Let's begin. Your brain edits reality before you consciously notice anything. Before you feel as if you have seen the world, your brain has already cleaned it up. It removes tiny gaps from eye movements. It smooths out missing detail. It guesses what should be there based on what usually happens. That means your experience of reality is not a raw recording. It is more like a finished broadcast, assembled behind the scenes. This is why you can read a sentence with a missing letter and still understand it. It is also why a magician can guide your attention while the trick happens somewhere else. Your mind is not trying to deceive you. It is trying to keep life fast enough to survive. If it stopped to check every detail, ordinary moments would become overwhelming. So the brain builds the most useful version of the world. It can most of the time, it works beautifully. But the strange part is this: you do not see the editing. You only see the result. Memories can change every time you remember them. A memory can feel like a saved file, but the brain handles it more like a living story. When you recall something, the memory becomes active again during that moment. It can absorb new details later, feelings or suggestions from other people. Then it gets stored again in a slightly changed form. This is why two people can remember the same conversation differently and both feel completely certain. It is also why childhood memories can become shaped by family stories, old photographs, and repeated retellings. The mind is not doing this because it is careless. It is trying to keep memories useful in the present. A memory that can update may help you learn from new experience. The trade-off is unsettling. Some of the scenes that feel most personal and permanent may have been edited many times. Each remembering can leave a tiny fingerprint over a lifetime. Those fingerprints can quietly change the story. Your pupils can reveal interest before your face. Does the dark centers of your eyes do more than adjust to light? They can also widen when something captures attention, feels exciting, or demands mental effort. This happens automatically, which makes it difficult to fake and hard to hide. Long before someone speaks, the body may already be reacting. Researchers have used pupil changes to study attraction, surprise, decision-making, and even how hard the brain is working. When a puzzle becomes more difficult, the pupils can expand as the mind takes on the load. But a person sees something emotionally meaningful, the same small signal may appear before any obvious expression. The effect is not a perfect lie detector. Bright rooms, tiredness, and medication can all change pupil size. Still, it is a remarkable clue. The eyes are often called expressive because of the face around them, yet sometimes the smallest movement in the eye itself says the brain has already noticed something important. The placebo effect can trigger real changes inside the body. A sugar pill should not be powerful, yet when someone believes a treatment may help, the body can sometimes respond as if help has arrived. Pain can ease stress, can shift symptoms, can feel less intense. This is not simply pretending, and it is not the same as imagining a cure. Expectation can influence chemicals involved in pain, reward, and emotion. The brain sends signals that change how the body interprets what is happening. Even the details matter. A capsule can feel different from a tablet. A confident explanation can strengthen the response. The setting of care can become part of the effect. The SIBOs do not replace real medicine, and they do not fix every illness, but they reveal something astonishing about the mind and body. Belief is not just a thought floating above biology. Under the right conditions, it can become a physical event. The body listens closely to what the brain expects. Familiar songs can get trapped in your mind for hours. An earworm is not just a catchy tune. It is a tiny loop that the brain keeps replaying even after the music has stopped. These musical fragments often have simple rhythms, easy patterns, and a shape that feels unfinished. That unfinished feeling matters because the mind likes closure. If a song seems to stop in the middle of its own momentum, your brain may keep trying to complete it. Stress, boredom, and repetition can make the loop stronger. So can hearing only a small piece of a song in a shop or passing car. The strange part is that earworms can arrive without permission. You may not even like the song. Still, the memory system finds a hook and keeps tanking at it. One simple trick is to listen to the whole song once. Another is to give the brain a different task. The loop often fades when the mind has somewhere better to go. People often prefer familiar things without knowing why. A face, a word, a song, or a logo can start to feel better simply because you have seen it before. This is called the mere exposure effect. The idea is simple, but its reach is enormous. When something becomes familiar, the brain processes it more easily. That ease can be mistaken for liking. You may think you chose something because it is better when your mind actually chose it because it felt smoother. This helps explain why repeated adverts work, why familiar names can seem more trustworthy, and why a song may grow on you after several listens. Familiarity does not make everything lovable. A terrible experience can still stay terrible, but when nothing feels threatening, repetition often nudges preference upward. The most interesting part is how invisible the process can be. People usually do not say, "I like this," because my brain has seen it before. They simply feel that the choice makes sense. Your brain predicts the world more than it records it. Every moment the brain is making bets about what will happen next. It predicts the weight of a cup before you lift it. It predicts the next word in a sentence. It predicts how a familiar hallway should look before you turn the corner. These guesses are so fast that they feel like direct experience. When the prediction matches reality, life feels smooth. When it fails, attention snaps awake. That is why an unexpected sound can feel so sharp. It is also why a missing stare can startle your whole body. The brain is not sitting back as a camera. It is actively preparing you to move, speak, understand, and survive. Prediction saves time because the world is too busy to build from scratch each second. But it also means perception is shaped by expectation. You partly experience what is there, you also experience what your brain was ready to find. Sleep helps your mind decide what matters emotionally. During sleep, the brain does not simply shut down, it sorts through the emotional weight of the day. Some experiences are softened, others are strengthened. Certain memories are linked with older knowledge, which can change how they feel by morning. This is one reason the problem may seem less intense after rest. The facts may be the same, but the emotional charge can be different. Dreaming may also play a role because the mind can revisit feelings in a strange, protected setting. It can test fears, replay conflicts, and blend recent events with older concerns. Sleep does not magically solve every worry. A poor night can make emotions feel louder and harder to manage, but steady sleep gives the brain a chance to file experience more wisely. It helps decide what needs attention and what can be released. In that sense, sleep is not just recovery, it is emotional housekeeping. A fake smile can still shift your mood slightly. The face and the mind are connected in both directions. We usually think emotions create expressions. Happiness makes someone smile, anger tightens the face, but expression can also send information back to the brain. When the muscles involved in smiling move, the brain may read that signal as a small clue about how you feel. The result is not dramatic. A forced smile will not erase grief or turn a bad day into a wonderful one. Still, under some conditions, it can gently tilt mood. This is why posture, breathing, and facial tension matter in everyday life. The body is not just carrying your emotions, it is helping shape them. Actors know this in a practical way. Holding a physical state can make a feeling easier to access. The same principle appears in ordinary moments. Change the body a little, and the mind may follow a little. Your attention can miss shocking events in plain sight. Seeing something depends on more than having it in front of your eyes. If your attention is busy, a dramatic event can pass through your vision without entering awareness. This is called inattentional blankness. The classic example involves people counting basketball passes while failing to notice. A person in a gorilla suit walking through the scene. The result feels impossible until you try it. The eyes receive the image, but the mind is committed to another task. Attention acts like a spotlight, and anything outside it can fade from experience. This has serious real-world consequences. Drivers can miss motorcycles, witnesses can overlook obvious details, workers can fail to see hazards when focused on a routine job. The lesson is not that people are foolish. The lesson is that awareness has limits. We do not notice everything we see. We notice what attention has made available. People remember unfinished tasks better than completed ones. An unfinished job can linger in the mind like a tab left open, psychologists call. All this the Zeigarnik effect. When the task has started but not reached compassion, the brain keeps a kind of mental tension around it. That tension makes the task easier to remember. Once the task is finished, the mind can release it. This is why a half-written message may keep returning to you while a completed chore disappears from thought. It also explains why cliffhangers are so effective. A story that stops before resolution keeps the brain waiting for closure. The effect is useful because it helps us return to important goals, but it can also make small, unfinished things feel strangely loud. A simple plan can help because the brain often relaxes once it knows when you will return. You do not always need to finish immediately. Sometimes the mind only needs a reliable next step. Your future self feels almost like another person. When people imagine themselves years from now, the brain can respond as if that future person is partly separate. This is one reason saving money, exercising, or studying can feel hard. The benefit belongs to someone who feels distant, while the cost belongs to you right now. The gap can be surprisingly powerful. A person may care deeply about their future, but still choose comfort in the present because the future self lacks emotional force. Experiments have shown that making the future feel more vivid can change decisions. Seeing an aged version of your face writing to your future self or imagining a specific day ahead can make long-term choices feel more personal. The trick is not willpower alone, it is connection. When the future self becomes easier to picture, the brain treats that person as less like a stranger. Tomorrow begins to feel like someone worth protecting. Today, red can make some people react faster. Color is not just decoration to the brain. In certain situations, red can act like a signal for urgency, warning, or importance. That signal may sharpen quick reactions, especially when the task is simple and speed matters. Think of stop signs, error marks, brake lights, and alerts. Over time, the mind learns that red often means pay attention now. The effect is not universal magic. Red will not make someone brilliant, and it can even hurt performance when a task requires calm, careful thinking. If a person sees red before a difficult test, the color may trigger pressure instead of confidence. Context changes everything. In sport, red clothing has sometimes been linked with a stronger impression of dominance. In other settings, it can feel romantic, risky, or aggressive. The fascinating part is that a color can enter the decision system before we discuss it. A simple visual cue can change the body's readiness to act. A crowded room can make responsibility feel smaller. When many people witness the same problem, each person may feel less personally responsible to act. This is known as the bystander effect. The strange part is that a crowd can reduce action. Even when everyone has good intentions, people look around for clues. If nobody else moves, the situation may seem less serious. Each person may also assume someone else is better placed to help in an emergency, that hesitation can cost precious time. The effect became famous through public discussions of real cases, but it also appears in ordinary life. A spilled drink, a confused stranger, or a dropped bag can be ignored longer when there are many observers. The solution is surprisingly direct. If you need help, single out one person and give a clear instruction. If you are the witness, act as if responsibility has landed on you. A crowd can blur duty, but one clear decision can bring it back. Your brain treats social rejection like physical pain. Being excluded can hurt in a way that feels almost bodily, that is not just a figure of speech. Social rejection activates brain systems involved in distress and threat. Humans evolved as deeply social creatures, so being pushed away from the group once carried real danger. The brain still treats rejection as important information. An ignored message, a cold look, or being left out of a plan to trigger a strong response because belonging is tied to safety. This does not mean emotional pain is identical to a broken bone. It means the brain uses some overlapping alarm systems to make rejection hard to ignore. That alarm can motivate repair, reconnection, or caution, but it can also make small slights feel enormous. When someone is already stressed or lonely, the feeling is not weakness, it is a survival system reacting. In a modern world, connection matters so much that the brain gives social pain a powerful signal. Names become harder to recall under pressure. You can know a name perfectly and still lose it the moment you need it. This happens because recall is not the same as recognition. A face may feel familiar, but the name requires the brain to retrieve a specific label from memory. Pressure makes that process worse. When you worry about seeming rude, the stress takes up mental space and blocks the search. The result is the famous tip of the tongue feeling. You know the answer is nearby, but you cannot reach it. Names are especially fragile because many of them do not describe the person. The word Michael does not tell you height, voice, job, or personality. It is an arbitrary tag that makes it easier to lose than a fact with meaning attached. The best fix is not panic. Use the name soon after hearing it. Link it to a clear feature or context. Give memory more hooks to grab people. Copy each other's posture without noticing. During conversation, bodies often fall into rhythm. One person leans forward, and the other may soon do the same. Someone crosses a leg, touches their face, or tilts their head a moment later. The movement appears across from them. This is called mimicry, and it usually happens without conscious planning. It helps people feel connected because matching another person can signal attention and ease. Good friends often do it naturally. So do people on successful dates, effective teams, and smooth interviews. The copying should not be exaggerated because obvious imitation feels strange. The real effect is subtle. It is part of how social life becomes coordinated. Your brain is constantly reading other bodies and adjusting your own. This helps conversation feel less like two separate machines taking turns. It becomes a shared rhythm. Long before anyone says, "I understand you," the body may already be saying, "I am with you." A warm drink can make strangers seem warmer. Physical warmth can influence social judgment in surprising ways. When someone holds a warm cup, they may rate another person as slightly friendlier or more generous. The effect appears to come from a deep link between bodily comfort and social comfort. From early life, warmth is tied to being cared for, held, and safe. The brain can carry that association into adult situations. A warm object in the hands may quietly nudge the idea of human warmth. This does not mean a cup of tea can turn suspicion into trust. The effect is small, and real behavior depends on many stronger factors, but it shows how judgment is not purely mental. The body supplies background information all the time. Temperature, posture, hunger, fatigue, and comfort can all color how the world feels. Sometimes what seems like an opinion about another person has been gently shaped by something as ordinary as the cup in your hands. The first price you hear can distort every later guess. The mind often uses an early number as an anchor. Once that number is present later, judgments drift toward it, even when the number is arbitrary. If a jacket is first marked at a high price, the sale price may feel like a bargain. If a house is listed too high, buyers may still judge offers around that starting point. Anchoring works because the brain needs a place to begin. Instead of building every estimate from nothing, it adjusts away from the first figure it meets. The problem is that the adjustment is often too small. This can affect shopping summary talks, negotiations, and even guesses in trivia questions. A random number can pull the mind without asking permission. The defense is to create your own anchor before someone else gives you one. Look up real values, decide your range. Then the first number you hear will have less power to bend the rest of your thinking. Your mood can change how heavy problems feel. A problem does not arrive in a neutral mind. It lands inside a body that may be rested, tense, hungry, hopeful, or exhausted. Mood changes the setting in which thinking happens. When you feel low, a small obstacle can seem larger because the brain expects effort to cost more. When you feel safe and supported, the same obstacle may look more manageable. This is not because the problem has changed. It is because your internal state changes the forecast. The mind asks, "Can I handle this right now?" And mood helps answer. Even physical effort can feel different depending on emotion. A hill can appear steeper when someone is tired or discouraged. That is why advice given at the wrong moment often fails. The person may understand the words, but the problem still feels too heavy to lift. Change the state first. Rest, food, movement, or reassurance can make the next thought easier to carry. Music can make time feel faster or slower. A song can change the pace of a moment without changing the clock at all. Fast music can make a wait feel shorter because the mind becomes occupied by rhythm and movement. Slow music can stretch a moment because attention settles more deeply into each passing beat. This is why restaurants, shops, gyms, and waiting rooms all think carefully about sound. Music can make people move faster, linger longer, or feel less aware of delay. The effect is not only about tempo, familiarity, emotion, and volume also matter. A beloved song can make a journey feel brief because the mind is busy anticipating the next line. An irritating sound can make the same journey feel endless because attention keeps returning to discomfort. Time is not experienced like a machine measuring seconds. It is shaped by attention. When music gives attention something pleasing to follow the moment, it can seem to glide. When it demands too much time, it can feel heavy. People often choose first and explain later. A decision can feel logical because the explanation arrives so smoothly, yet the mind often reaches a preference before it builds the story that justifies it. You may pick a meal, a shirt, or an opinion almost instantly. Then the reasoning system steps in and says why it made sense. This is not always dishonest. The brain is fast, and many choices depend on hidden impressions that are hard to put into words. A person may say they chose a chair because it looks comfortable when the real reason was its position near the window. The explanation may still sound convincing because the mind is excellent at making decisions feel orderly after the fact. This matters because people can mistake a neat reason for a true cause. The most interesting question is sometimes not why did I choose this? It is when did I choose this? Often the answer is earlier than you think. Confidence can rise even when accuracy stays the same. Feeling certain is not the same as being correct. Confidence can grow because an answer feels familiar, because someone has repeated it, or because no one has challenged it. The actual accuracy may not improve at all. This is why a wrong memory can become more powerful each time it is told. It is also why a guess can start to feel like knowledge after a person has defended it in conversation. The brain treats fluency as a signal. If something comes to mind easily, it often feels more believable. But ease is not proof. Experts can be cautious because they know how many details matter. Beginners can sound certain because they do not yet see the hidden complications. This makes confidence fascinating and dangerous. It helps people act when hesitation would paralyze them. It can also make mistakes spread with a strong voice. Certainty feels like a light inside the mind, but it does not always show the way your brain fills blind spots with invented detail. Each eye has a place where the optic nerve leaves the retina, and that area cannot detect light. You should see a gap in the world, but you do not. The brain covers it so smoothly that daily life feels complete. It uses nearby patterns, edges, colors, and expectations to fill the missing patch. If the surrounding area is plain, the brain extends the plane surface. If lines continue across the gap, the mind often completes them. The amazing part is that this invented detail does not feel invented. It feels like seeing this reveals a bigger truth about perception. The brain is always trying to provide a stable world, even when the raw information is incomplete. It does not wait for perfect data, because perfect data almost never arrives. Instead, it makes the best guess and presented as experience. Every ordinary scene contains more construction than it seems. Babies can recognize voices before they understand words, before language becomes meaning. Voices are already familiar. A baby can respond to the sound patterns heard before birth, especially the rhythm and tone of a caregiver's speech. The words themselves may not be understood, but the voice carries something important. It carries timing, emotion, and safety. Newborns often prefer the voice they heard, most often in the womb, because that sound has already become part of their world. This shows how early human connection begins. Learning does not wait for school books or clear memories. It begins in sound, heartbeat, and repeated presence. A caregiver speaking gently to a baby is not just making noise. The child is absorbing patterns that will later support attention, bonding, and language. The voice becomes a bridge from the body into the social world. Long before a baby can say a single word, the brain is already learning who matters. A tiny reward can make boring tasks feel meaningful. The brain does not need a huge prize to change how a task feels. A small sign of progress can make an ordinary chore easier to continue. A checked box, a pleasant sound, or a simple point can create a sense that effort is going somewhere. This is why games can make repeated actions feel strangely satisfying. The activity may be simple, but the reward system keeps receiving signals that progress is happening. The same principle appears in study apps, fitness trackers, loyalty cards, and household routines. The reward does not have to be valuable in itself. It only needs to mark movement. The brain likes evidence that effort has produced a result. Without that evidence, dull tasks can feel endless. With it, the same task becomes a series of small completions. The fascinating part is how easily meaning can begin. Sometimes motivation starts with one tiny signal that says keep going. People judge faces faster than they can explain. A face can create an impression almost immediately before a person has spoken. The brain begins reading expression, age, familiarity, and emotional tone. These judgments happen so quickly that they can feel like instinct. You may sense friendliness, threat, confidence, or uncertainty before you know what detail caused it. This speed has a purpose. Human beings depend on social information, and faces are among the richest signals we have. The danger is that fast judgments can be wrong. A tired face can look unfriendly, a nervous expression can be mistaken for guilt. A confident smile can hide poor intentions. The brain values speed because hesitation once carried risks. Modern life asks for more patience. First impressions are useful as alerts, not final verdict. The fascinating part is that a face can open an entire story in the mind before evidence has had time to arrive. Fear can sharpen some memories and blur others. During a frightening moment, the brain does not record everything equally. It often locks onto whatever seems most important for survival. A sound, a face, a weapon, or a path to escape may become vivid. Other details may fade or disappear. This is why fear can create memories that feel intense but incomplete. The central danger may stand out while the background becomes uncertain. In a sudden accident, someone might remember the sound of impact clearly, but not the color of a nearby car. The brain is not trying to build a perfect report. It is trying to protect you. Stress chemicals help mark important information, but they also narrow attention. That trade-off can be useful in the moment and confusing later. It explains why emotional memories can feel powerful without being fully accurate. Fear does not simply turn memory up, it changes what the mind believes is worth saving. Your mind can confuse imagination with real experience. Imagining something uses many of the same mental tools involved in remembering. The mind builds scenes, fills in detail, and creates a sense of possibility. If an imagined event is repeated often, it can start to feel strangely familiar. That familiarity may later be mistaken for evidence that it really happened. This is called imagination inflation. It can occur with small childhood events, everyday actions, or details suggested in conversation. Someone might picture leaving keys on the table so vividly that they later feel sure they did it. The effect is strongest when the imagined scene is easy to picture and emotionally believable. This does not mean imagination and memory are identical. The brain usually separates them well, but the border is not as solid as it feels. The mind judges reality partly through detail and familiarity. When imagination creates both a false sense of memory conquire. To begin, groups can make obvious mistakes feel believable. A person may doubt their own eyes when everyone around them agrees on a different answer. This is the power of conformity. In famous experiments, people looked at simple lines and sometimes gave clearly wrong answers because the group had done so first. The task was easy, but the social pressure was not. Humans are built to care about belonging. Disagreeing with the group can feel risky even when the facts seem plain. Sometimes people conform because they do not want trouble. Sometimes they wonder if the group knows something they have missed. This is why bad ideas can spread inside teams, classrooms, and workplaces when no one wants to be the first dissenting voice. The solution is not constant rebellion. Groups can be wise when disagreement is safe. The lesson is sharper than that. Truth needs room to breathe. If a room punishes doubt, even obvious reality can start to bend. People walk differently when their mood changes. Emotion does not stay locked inside the head. It moves through the body. When people feel sad, the steps may become slower, the posture may drop, and the movements may lose bounce. When they feel confident, their stride often changes in the opposite direction. Other people can read these shifts quickly, sometimes without knowing exactly what they noticed. Walking is full of information because it combines balance, energy, direction, and rhythm. The body reveals what the person is preparing for. A joyful walk may seem open because the body is ready to engage. An anxious walk may seem guarded because the body is preparing for uncertainty. The relationship can also work backward. Changing how you move can sometimes notch how you feel. A brisk walk with open posture will not solve every problem, but it can send the brain a different message. Mood shapes movement, and movement can answer back. Nostalgia can make loneliness feel less powerful. Remembering a meaningful time can do more than bring back the past. It can make a person feel connected in the present. Nostalgia often involves people, places, routines, and moments that once carried belonging. When loneliness rises, the mind may reach for those memories as a form of emotional repair. A childhood meal, an old song, or a memory of being welcomed can remind the brain that connection is possible. The past becomes evidence that warmth has existed before and may exist again. Nostalgia is not simply sadness for what is gone. It is often bittersweet because it mixes loss with comfort. That mixture can be surprisingly strengthening. It can help people feel that their life has continuity, meaning, and human ties. Of course, living only in the past can become painful, but a well-timed memory can act like a small bridge. It reminds the lonely mind that it has not always been alone. Your brain dislikes losing more than it enjoys winning. A loss can feel heavier than an equal gain feels good. This is called loss aversion, and it affects decisions everywhere. Losing a small amount of money can bother someone more than finding the same amount pleases them. Giving up a possession can feel worse than never owning it in the first place. The brain treats loss as a threat to what it already has. Gains are welcome, but losses demand protection. This can make people hold on to bad subscriptions, failing projects, or unused belongings, because letting go feels like admitting a loss. It also explains why careful framing changes behavior. A message about what you might lose can motivate more strongly than a message about what you might gain. The effect is not irrational in every case. Protecting resources once mattered deeply for survival, but in modern life, the old alarm can become too sensitive. Sometimes the fear of losing keeps people from choosing better. Mirrors can make people act more honestly. A mirror does more than show a reflection. It can make self-awareness harder to avoid. When people see themselves, they may become more aware of their own standards and behavior. That awareness can reduce cheating, increase carefulness, or make someone less likely to act against their values. The effect is simple, but revealing many dishonest choices happen in a fog of excuses a person tells themselves. It does not matter, nobody will know, or everyone does it. A mirror interrupts that fog by making the self feel present. It is harder to disappear inside the excuse when your own face is right there. This is why self-awareness cues can change behavior in small everyday situations. A camera symbol, a reflective surface, or a written signature can remind people that their actions belong to them. Honesty is not only about character, it is also about whether the moment makes character easy to remember. A simple label can change how food tastes. The tongue does not taste alone. The brain uses expectation to shape flavor before the first bite is fully understood. If a food is described as rich, fresh, handmade, or expensive, people may experience it differently. The label creates a prediction, and the brain blends that prediction with the senses. The same drink can seem more pleasant when it is believed to come from a respected brand. A meal can feel more satisfying when its description sounds carefully prepared. This does not mean taste is fake. Smell, texture, temperature, and flavor are real signals, but the meaning attached to food changes how those signals are interpreted. Even a name can matter. A plain description may make something seem ordinary, while a vivid but clear description can make attention sharpen. The fascinating part is that expectation enters the mouth with the food. Taste begins before chewing. It begins when the mind decides what it is about to experience. People remember beginnings and endings better than middles. The mind gives special weight to first impressions and final moments in a list. The earliest items often get remembered because they arrived before attention is crowded. The last items stay available because they're still fresh. The middle has a harder job because it must compete with everything around it. This pattern appears beyond memory tests. People may remember the start of a holiday and the last day more clearly than the ordinary days between. A speech can be shaped by a strong opening and a memorable close because those moments have extra power. Even arguments can be judged by how they begin and how they end. The middle still matters, but it needs structure to survive. Stories, surprises, and emotional turns help protect it from fading. This is one reason endings feel so important. The final moment can color the whole experience. The brain does not save time evenly. It gives certain moments the best seats. Eye contact can feel intense after only seconds. Looking into another person's eyes is one of the strongest social signals humans share. It can communicate attention, interest, challenge, care, or discomfort without a word. After only a few seconds, eye contact can start to feel unusually personal because the brain treats direct gaze as highly relevant. Someone is not just near you, they are oriented toward you. That matters. The body may respond with alertness, warmth, or tension, depending on the setting. In a safe conversation, eye contact can build trust. In a threatening moment, it can feel confrontational. In a romantic setting, it can become charged because attention feels exclusive. The power comes from mutual awareness. You know they are seeing you, and they know you are seeing them. That loop can become intense very quickly. Eyes do not reveal everything about a person, but direct gaze makes the social moment feel immediate. It says this exchange is happening now. Boredom can push the mind toward creative ideas. Boredom feels like nothing is happening, but the mind may be preparing to search. When a task is dull and understimulating attention stops looking for somewhere else to go, that wondering can become useful. The brain may begin combining old memories, unfinished questions, and loose possibilities in new ways. This is why ideas sometimes appear in the shower, on a walk, or during repetitive chores. The mind is not being fed constant novelty, so it begins making its own. Boredom can also signal that current activity lacks, meaning that signal may push someone to explore change strategy or invent a better route. Of course, not all boredom is productive. Too much can become draining or frustrating, but a little space without constant input can help thought loosen. Creativity often needs a gap. When every moment is filled, the mind has fewer chances to surprise itself. Boredom can become the doorway that opens when stimulation steps aside. Your brain responds to fairness before logic finishes. When someone offers a deal that feels unfair, the body may react before careful reasoning has caught up. A person might reject a small reward if the spit feels insulting, even though taking it would be better than getting nothing. This shows that fairness is not just a polite idea. It is tied to emotion status and social survival. Humans need cooperation, and unfair treatment can signal danger inside a group. The brain responds strongly because accepting unfairness may feel like allowing a bad pattern to continue. Logic says take the benefit. Social emotion says do not reward the insult. Both systems have a point. In one moment, money is at stake. In the larger pattern, respect may be at stake. This is why unfairness can feel hot and immediate. It is not simply a calculation error. It is the mind defending the rules that make trust possible. People can hear their own name in noisy rooms. A busy room can be full of overlapping voices, yet your own name may cut through the noise. This is often called the cocktail party effect. The brain is able to filter sound, so you can focus on one conversation while still monitoring the background for important signals. Your name is one of those signals because it is deeply tied to identity and attention. When someone says it across the room, awareness may shift before you decide to listen. This ability shows how selective hearing really is. You are not processing every sound equally. The brain is sorting for relevance. It keeps one stream in focus and leaves others dim. But not entirely gone important words can still break through. This is why a parent may notice a child cry in a crowd, or a person may hear a familiar voice from behind. Attention is selective, but it is never completely sealed. Smells can unlock older memories than pictures often do. A scent can pull someone into the past with startling force. The smell of a classroom, a certain soap or food from a childhood kitchen, can bring back a time that seemed forgotten. Smell has a special route into emotional memory. It connects closely with brain areas involved in feeling and personal history. Unlike pictures, scents often arrive without words. They do not announce what they are doing. They simply open a door. This is why a person may smell something and suddenly remember a place before they can name the scent itself. The memory may feel bodily, as if the past has returned through the air. It can be comforting, strange, or unexpectedly emotional. Smell also becomes linked to context because it surrounds an experience. You breathe it while life is happening. Years later, one trace of that scent can bring back the room, the mood, and the person you were then. A messy desk can encourage more original thinking. Order can help the mind follow rules, but disorder can sometimes loosen them. In a messy space, familiar categories may feel less. Fixed objects sit in unusual arrangements, and the environment can subtly signal that normal patterns are not controlling everything. This may encourage more unconventional ideas, especially when the goal is creativity rather than precision. A tidy desk can be excellent for focus planning and careful completion. A messy desk may be better when the mind needs permission to make unexpected connections. The effect does not mean chaos is always helpful. Too much clutter can become distracting, stressful, or impossible to working. The interesting point is that environment carries meaning. A clean room may whisper, follow the system. A disordered room may whisper, try something different. Creative thought often begins when the brain stops taking the usual route. Sometimes a slightly messy desk gives that permission before a single word is written. People overestimate how much others notice their mistakes. A small embarrassment can feel as if it has been broadcast to the entire room. In reality, most people are far more focused on themselves than on your awkward moment. This is called the spotlight effect. If you stumble over a word, spill a little coffee, or wear the wrong thing, your mind may place a bright imaginary light on the mistake. But other people are usually managing their own worries, plans, and self-conscious thoughts. They may barely notice. If they do notice, they often forget quickly. The effect happens because you experience your own life from the center your feelings allowed to you, so it seems they must be obvious to everyone else. This is strangely comforting. The world is not watching as closely as embarrassment claims. Most mistakes disappear into the normal blur of human life. The spotlight feels real, but much of the time you are the one holding it. The color blue can make time feel calmer. Blue often carries associations of steadiness, coolness, and space. In some settings, it can make a room more serene, feel less urgent than warmer colors. That calmer feeling can change how time is experienced. A weight may seem less irritating when the environment feels controlled and unthreatening. This is one reason blue is common in places that want to signal trust, cleanliness, or ease. Effect depends on context, culture, lighting, and personal history. A deep blue room at night may feel different from a cheer, bright blue sign on a busy street. Still, color can influence the emotional background of a moment before anyone talks about it. The brain reads visual surroundings constantly. It asks whether a place feels safe, demanding, exciting, or calm. When the answer leans toward calm, time can feel less sharp. Blue does not slow the clock. It can soften the experience of waiting inside it. A trusted voice can lower stress quickly. A familiar voice can reach the nervous system faster than many people realize. When someone hears a person they trust, the body may begin to settle before any problem has been solved. The words matter, but the tone carries safety. A steady voice can signal that you are not alone with the situation. This is why a phone call from the right person can feel different from a text. The human voice contains rhythm, warmth, breath, and emotional certainty. It gives the brain more information than written language can provide. Children often calm when they hear a caregiver. Adults can feel the same kind of shift with a partner, friend, or family member. The stressor may still exist, but the body receives a social signal that support is near. Humans regulate each other in deeply physical ways. Sometimes the first step toward feeling better is not advice, it is hearing a voice the body believes. People laugh more often with others than alone. Laughter is not only a reaction to humor, much of it is social. People laugh to show agreement, ease tension, invite closeness, or signal that a moment is safe. That is why laughter appears so often in conversation. Even when nobody has told a formal joke alone, a funny scene may make you smile. With someone else, the same scene may trigger real laughter because the emotion becomes shared. Laughter tells another person, "I am with you in this moment." He can soften awkwardness and help groups bond quickly. This is why canned laughter on old television shows worked on many viewers. It gave the brain a social cue that amusement was happening. The strange truth is that laughter can be less about the joke than about the relationship around it. Humor may light the spark, but connection often feeds the flame. We laugh as social animals, not just as private minds. Your body can sense tension before thoughts explain it. Sometimes you know something feels wrong before you can say why. Your stomach tightens, your shoulders rise, or your breathing changes. The body has noticed a pattern before conscious thought has formed a sentence. This can happen in social situations, unfamiliar places, or moments when someone's tone does not match their words. The brain constantly reads tiny signals from the environment and from other people. Many of those signals are processed outside awareness. The body then prepares before the reasoning mind catches up. This is not mystical. It is fast pattern detection. Of course, body signals can be mistaken. Hunger, tiredness, or past experience can make a safe moment feel threatening. But the signal is still worth noticing. It may be pointing toward information you have not yet named. The most useful response is not blind trust or instant dismissal. It is curiosity. Body may be raising its hand before the mind has found the words. The brain can mistake certainty for truth. Fault that feels clear, strong, and settled can seem true simply because it arrives with confidence. The brain often uses internal feeling as evidence. If an idea feels firm, people may assume it has a solid foundation. This can happen with opinions, memories, predictions, and snap judgments. The trouble is that certainty can come from many sources besides truth. Repetition can create an emotion, can create a group agreement, can create it, a simple explanation can create it. Once certainty appears, the mind may stop searching. That is what makes it so powerful. Doubt keeps the door open, but certainty begins to close it. This does not mean certainty is always wrong. Many true things feel certain because the evidence is strong. The danger comes when the feeling replaces the evidence. A wise mind learns to ask a second question. Not just how sure am I, but what actually made me sure. Small rituals can reduce anxiety before difficult moments. A ritual gives the mind a shape to follow when uncertainty feels too wide. Before a speech, a game, an exam, or a hard conversation, people often repeat small actions in the same order. They straighten notes, take a certain breath, touch a lucky object, or say a phrase under their breath. The ritual may not change the challenge directly, but it can change the person entering it. Repetition creates predictability. Unpredictability gives the nervous system something stable to hold. The action says, I know what comes next, even if the larger moment is uncertain. This helps explain why athletes, performers, and students often develop routines. Some rituals become superstitious, especially when success follows them by coincidence, but the deeper benefit is control. In a moment when the outcome cannot be guaranteed, a small repeated action can make the start feel manageable. The ritual narrows the doorway so the mind can walk through. People prefer choices that feel easier to justify. A person may choose the option that gives them the best story afterward. This happens even when another option might bring more pleasure. The mind does not only ask, what do I want? It also asks, what can I explain? A sensible reason can make a decision feel safer because it can be defended to others and to the self. This is why people may pick a practical gift over a more exciting one, or choose a familiar meal when trying something new would be more fun. Justification protects against regret. If the choice turns out badly, the person can say it made sense at the time. This tendency shapes purchases, relationships, work decisions, and everyday routines. It reveals that humans are not just experience seekers, they are meaning makers. We want our choices to feel coherent. Sometimes the winning option is not the one that promises the most joy. It is the one that sounds easiest to live with. Handwriting notes can strengthen memory more than typing. When you write by hand, the brain has to slow down and choose what matters. You cannot capture every word as easily as you can on a keyboard, so the mind begins sorting information while it is still arriving. That extra effort can make the memory stronger. A typed note can become a transcript. A handwritten note often becomes a decision. You hear an idea, compress it, shape it, and put it down in your own words. That process gives the brain more contact with the meaning. The movement of the hand may also help because each letter is built through a physical action, not just selected by pressing a key. This does not mean typing is useless. It can be faster, cleaner, and better for storing detail. But if the goal is to understand and remember, handwriting has a strange advantage. It turns listening into thinking before the page is even finished. A single word can shift how people remember events. The word used after an event can change the memory of the event itself. If people watch the same incident and then hear different descriptions, their later memories may drift in different directions. The question that says 2 cars smashed can create a stronger impression than a question that says they touched. The scene has not changed, but the language has guided the mind's reconstruction. This matters because memory is not pulled from storage like an object from a drawer. It is rebuilt using what the person saw, what they felt, and what they later heard. A single word can become part of that rebuilding. This is why careful wording matters in interviews, investigations, classrooms, and everyday arguments. A question can be helpful, or it can quietly plant a detail. The unsettling part is that the new version may feel completely natural. The person may not remember the word that changed the memory. They may only remember the changed memory. The brain rewards curiosity before the answer arrives. Curiosity is not just a pleasant feeling. It is a motivational signal that pulls the mind forward. When you realize there is a gap in your knowledge, the brain can begin treating the missing answer as valuable. That anticipation can activate reward systems before the information appears. This is why a good mystery, a surprising question, or an unfinished explanation can be so hard to ignore. The answer becomes something the mind wants to reach. Curiosity can also improve learning because attention sharpens around the gap. When the answer finally comes, it lands in a brain that has already prepared a place for it. That is why a fact can feel more memorable when you wanted to know it first. The order matters. Being told information is one thing, feeling the need for it is another. Curiosity turns knowledge from something pushed to queue into something your brain is actively trying to catch. People underestimate how much sleep shapes personality. A tired person can seem like a different version of themselves. They may become more irritable, more emotional, less patient, and worse at reading social cues. Yet many people treat poor sleep as a small inconvenience instead of a major change in the mind's operating conditions. Sleep affects attention, impulse control, mood memory, and how strongly the brain reacts to stress. After too little rest, ordinary problems can feel personal. A simple request can sound like criticism. A mild delay can feel intolerable. The person may think their personality is showing when their exhausted brain is struggling to regulate itself. This is why arguments often grow sharper late at night. It is also why a rested morning can make the same issue feel less dramatic. Sleep does not create character from nothing, but he can decide how much of your better judgment is available. Sometimes the most mature response begins hours earlier with going to bed. A compliment can improve performance minutes later. A well-timed compliment can do more than make someone feel good. It can change how they approach the next task. When people feel seen for real strength, the brain may become less defensive and more willing to engage. Confidence rises, but so does attention to the activity that earned the praise. The key is that the compliment must feel specific and believable. Empty praise can slide off. A clear statement about effort, strategy, or improvement gives the mind something solid to use. This is why a teacher, coach, or friend can sometimes unlock better performance with only a few words. The compliment becomes evidence that progress is possible. It can quiet the internal voice that says, "I cannot do this." It can also make effort feel worthwhile because someone has noticed the connection between action and result. A small sentence can become a mental foothold. From there, the next attempt may start higher. Faces can look friendlier when you feel safe. The same face can seem different depending on the state of the person looking at it. When you feel safe, the brain is less prepared for threat and more open to warmth. A neutral expression may look calm rather than cold. A quiet person may seem thoughtful rather than unfriendly. But when the body feels unsafe, the mind can tilt toward caution. Ambiguous faces may seem harsher because the brain is trying to protect you from danger. This is not a flaw in vision. It is perception shaped by survival. The brain asks, what does this person mean for me right now? Your internal state helps answer before evidence is complete. That is why stress can make the world feel less welcoming. It changes the filter through which people are read. Feeling safe does not make every person trustworthy. It simply gives the mind more room to notice signals that fear might have hidden. People trust deeper voices slightly more. On average, a voice can carry authority before the words are judged. Deeper voices are often perceived as more confident, stronger, or more capable, especially in quick impressions. This does not mean the person is actually wiser or more honest. It means listeners bring old associations to sound. A lower pitch may suggest size, maturity, or steadiness, and the brain can translate those impressions into trust. The effect can influence politics, leadership, dating, and even customer service. A speaker with a deeper voice may be given a small advantage before their ideas have been tested. That advantage is not destiny. Warmth, clarity, honesty, and skill matter far more over time. Still, the first seconds of hearing someone can set expectations. The fascinating part is how physical a judgment can be. We may believe we are responding only to meaning, but the instrument carrying the meaning has already changed the room. Voice arrives before the argument. Your brain notices angry faces unusually fast. An angry face is not just another expression to the brain, it can be a warning signal. The lowered brow, fixed stare, and tense mouth may suggest conflict before a word is spoken, because social danger matters. The mind is tuned to detect anger quickly. This can happen even when the face appears only briefly or sets among calmer expressions. The brain gives anger priority because a hostile person nearby may require action. That action could be leaving calming the situation or preparing to defend yourself. This ability can be useful, but it also has a cost. In tense periods, people may become too quick to see anger where there is only concentration fatigue or confusion. The same sensitivity that protects can also misread. Still, the speed is astonishing. A room full of faces can appear ordinary and one angry. Expression can pull attention like a signal flare. The social brain is always watching for emotional weather. Chewing gum can improve focus for some tasks. Chewing is a simple action, but it can slightly change alertness. For some people, gum seems to help during short tasks that require attention. The steady movement may increase arousal, just enough to keep the mind engaged. It can also give restless energy somewhere harmless to go. That matters because focus is not only about forcing attention to stay still. Sometimes the body needs a small rhythm to support the mind. This may be why chewing gum can feel helpful during studying, driving, or repetitive work. The effect is not guaranteed, and it is not a secret path to brilliance. For some tasks, it may do little. For others, especially longer or more demanding ones, the benefit can fade or become distracting. But the idea is intriguing because it shows how thinking is tied to bodily state. A small movement in the jaw can change the level of raginess in the brain. People see patterns even in random noise. The human mind is a pattern-finding machine. It looks for shapes in clouds, faces in objects, and meaning in coincidences. Disability is one reason humans are so good at learning. We notice regularities and use them to predict what comes next. The problem is that the system is so eager that it sometimes finds order where there is none. Random events can start to feel connected. A lucky shirt can seem responsible for a good day. A cluster of bad news can feel like a sign. The brain prefers a meaningful pattern to a meaningless accident because patterns offer control. If something has a cause, perhaps it can be understood or avoided. This tendency is useful when real patterns exist, but misleading when chance is doing the work. The fascinating part is that randomness often feels unsatisfying. The mind keeps asking for a story, even when the truth is only probability. The same joke feels funnier in a group. Humor is not only inside the joke, it is also inside the room where the joke lands. When people laugh together, each person receives a signal that amusement is safe and shared, that social. Permission could make the joke funnier than it would alone. The effect begins quickly. One laugh invites another. The body hears laughter and treats it as evidence that the moment is playful. This is why comedy clubs feel different from watching the same routine by yourself. The crowd becomes part of the performance. It is also why a joke can fail in a tense room, but succeed among friends. The meaning of humor depends on trust, timing, and shared expectation. A punchline is not just information, it is a little social test. If others respond, the mind relaxes into the joke. Laughter grows not because the words changed, but because the people around them did. Gratitude can make patience feel easier. Gratitude can shift attention away from immediate lack and toward what already has value. That shift can make waiting feel less punishing. When people feel grateful, they may become more willing to choose a larger later reward over a smaller immediate one. The reason is not that gratitude makes people passive. It can make the present feel less empty. If the mind is focused only on what it does not have, delay feels like deprivation. If it is also aware of what is already good, delay becomes easier to tolerate. This matters in spending, relationships, health habits, and long-term goals. Patience is often treated as pure discipline, but emotion can support it. A grateful mind may feel less desperate to grab the nearest relief. It has a little more internal room. That room can change a decision. Sometimes the strongest form of self-control begins with noticing something you do not want to lose. People remember emotional pictures better than neutral ones. An emotional image tells the brain that something matters. It may be joyful, frightening, moving, or shocking. Whatever the feeling, emotion acts like a marker that tells memory to pay attention. Neutral images often pass through the mind with less priority because they do not seem as important. This is why a person may forget an ordinary street scene but remember a photograph from a major celebration. Emotion gives the brain a reason to keep the moment. It can strengthen attention while the image is being seen and help the memory remain available later. The effect is powerful, but it does not make every detail perfect. People may remember the emotional center clearly while losing background information. Still, emotional pictures often stay because the brain is built to learn from what moves us. A plain image may say nothing urgent. Here, an emotional image says, "Save this." The memory system listens. A familiar scent can make a place feel safer. Safety is not judged only by locks, lights, or visible exits. The brain also reads the air. A familiar scent can make an unfamiliar place feel less strange because it carries the feeling of a known environment. The smell of home laundry, the usual shampoo, or a comforting meal can tell the body that this space has something recognizable in it. That recognition can soften alertness. Travelers sometimes bring a familiar pillowcase for this reason. Parents may leave a worn shirt near a child because the scent carries presence. The effect is subtle. It shows how deeply smell is tied to comfort. Scent bypasses many of the ordinary steps of explanation. You do not have to think, "This reminds me of safety." The body may feel it first. A new room can become less threatening when the brain finds one known signal inside it. Sometimes belonging begins as a trace in the air. Your brain can rehearse actions without moving muscles. When you imagine an action carefully, the brain can activate parts of the same planning system used for real movement. A pianist can mentally practice a passage. An athlete can picture a jump. A person can rehearse a difficult conversation before speaking. The body may stay still, but the nervous system is running a version of the plan. This is why mental rehearsal can improve performance when it is specific and realistic. It helps the brain prepare timing, sequence, and attention. The key is not vague. Wishing effective rehearsal feels detailed. It includes what you will see, what you will do, and where the difficult moment may appear. The brain lands better when the imagined action resembles the real one. This does not replace physical practice, because muscles, balance, and feedback still matter, but it adds something powerful. The mind can train part of an action before the world gives permission to begin. People become braver when they feel watched. Being observed can change courage because reputation enters the moment. When people know others can see them, they may push a little harder, stand a little taller, or take a risk they would avoid alone. The watching audience does not need to be large. Even one respected person can matter. Humans care deeply about how they are judged because social standing has always influenced belonging and opportunity. In some situations, being watched increases pressure and harms performance. But when the action is clear and the person feels capable, observation can raise effort. It can turn private hesitation into public commitment. This is why a runner may find extra speed near spectators, or a child may climb higher when a parent is looking. The audience becomes part of the motivation. The brave act may still be real. It is simply helped by the knowledge that someone else will remember it. A simple countdown can make choices feel urgent. A countdown changes a decision by making time visible. When people see seconds disappearing, the mind treats the situation as closing. That can create urgency, even when the stakes are small. Online sales use this effect because a ticking timer makes hesitation feel costly. Games use it to make simple decisions exciting. Teachers, performers, and coaches use countdowns to move people from thinking into action. The power comes from a shift in attention. Instead of only asking what choice is best, the brain starts asking whether there is still time to choose. That pressure can help when someone is stuck. It can also lead to rushed decisions when more thought would be useful. The countdown does not add value to the option. It changes the emotional frame around it. Time becomes a presence in the room. Once the mind feels a door closing, even an ordinary choice can suddenly feel important. Your mind can treat money like emotional safety. Money is practical, but the brain often treats it as more than a tool. It can represent choice, protection, status, freedom, and escape. This is why financial stress can feel so physical. The numbers on a screen can become a signal about whether the future is safe. Even thinking about money can change behavior. People may become more independent, more focused on personal goals, or less likely to ask for help after money is brought to mind. The effect is complicated because money can support real security, but it can also become emotionally loaded beyond its actual use. A person may hold on to it tightly because it feels like armor against uncertainty. Another person may spend it quickly because spending creates a brief feeling of control. Strange part is that coins, cards, and account balances are symbols, yet the nervous system can respond to them as if they were shelter. People prefer advice that confirms their existing beliefs. Advice feels best when it fits the story someone already carries. If a person believes they should leave a job, they may respond warmly to advice that supports leaving and resist advice that suggests staying. This is confirmation bias in everyday form. The mind does not simply collect guidance, it filters guidance through identity, emotion, and desire. Advice that agrees with us feels insightful because it reduces conflict. Advice that challenges us can feel irritating even when it is useful. This creates a problem. The advice we most need may be the advice we least want to hear. Good decision-making often requires seeking out someone who will not merely echo your favorite answer. The best advisor is not always the person who makes you feel certain. It may be the person who helps you think more clearly. The mind loves confirmation because it feels comfortable. Growth often begins when comfort is interrupted. Sad music can feel pleasant for surprising reasons. Sad music can make people feel better without making them feel cheerful. That sounds strange, but the emotion it creates is often safe, controlled, and meaningful. A sad song lets the mind approach sorrow without being trapped inside a real crisis. The listener can feel tenderness, memory, longing, or release while still knowing they can stop the song at any time. This gives sadness a frame. It becomes something to experience rather than something to solve. Sad music can also make people feel understood. When a song matches a private feeling, loneliness may soften because the emotion now seems shared. There is pleasure in recognition. There is relief in having a feeling organized into sound. This is why a person may choose sad music when they are already sad. They may not be kind to sink lower. They may be trying to give the feeling a shape the mind can hold. The brain notices broken expectations before ordinary details. When the world behaves as expected, the brain can move efficiently. But when something breaks the pattern, attention snaps toward it. A familiar door that opens the wrong way, a friend speaking in an unusual tone, or a common object in the wrong place can feel instantly noticeable. The brain is built to detect prediction errors because they may contain important information. Something has changed, and change can mean opportunity or danger. This is why surprises are so memorable. They interrupt the normal flow and force the mind to update its model of what is happening. Ordinary details often fade because they match the script. Broken expectations stand out because they challenge it. This makes surprise one of the great engines of attention. A teacher, storyteller, or performer can use it to wake the mind. The brain does not merely ask what is here, it asks what is here that should not be. People judge waiting time by how uncertain it feels. A wait with no explanation often feels longer than a wait with a clear reason. The clock may show the same duration, but uncertainty changes the experience. If you know a train will arrive in 10 minutes, the wait has a shape. If the board says delayed with no update, the mind keeps checking, guessing, and bracing. That mental effort makes time feel heavier. Uncertainty also removes control. You cannot decide whether to stay, leave, prepare, or relax because the situation has not given you enough information. This is why progress bars, queue numbers, and delivery updates can be calming. Even when they do not make the wait shorter, they make the wait understandable. The brain tolerates delay better when it can predict what comes next. Waiting is not only about time passing, it is about whether the mind can stop asking what is happening now. A small promise can make bigger commitments more likely. Once someone makes a small commitment, the mind often wants later actions to match it. A person who says they care about fitness may be more likely to take a walk. Someone who agrees to a tiny favor may become more open to a larger one. The first promise creates a self-image, and people usually prefer to act consistently with how they have presented themselves. This is why small public commitments can be powerful. They turn an intention into something with social and personal weight. The effect can be used positively, such as starting a habit with a manageable first step. It can also be used manipulatively when someone leads people toward larger requests through harmless beginnings. The psychology is simple but strong. The mind likes continuity. Once a person has crossed the first line, the next line can feel less distant. A tiny yes can become the doorway to a larger one. People can feel ownership over things they barely touched. Ownership can begin before anything is bought. If someone handles an object, imagines using it, or customizes it, the brain may start treating it as partly theirs. This is called the endowment effect. Once that feeling appears, giving the object up can feel like a loss. A mug, a jacket, or a chair may seem more valuable after a person has held it for only a short time. Stores understand this. Test drives, fitting rooms, free trials, and product customization all invite the mind to begin ownership early. The object becomes linked to the self. It is no longer just something on a shelf. It is something that could fit into your life. This can help people choose what genuinely suits them. It can also make them overvalue what they have touched. The strange part is how quickly the boundary moves. For a moment, the mind says mine before reality is caught up. Your brain can confuse fluency with intelligence. When someone speaks smoothly, the brain often treats the message as smarter. Clear rhythm, familiar words, and easy delivery can make an idea feel more convincing. The same thing can happen with writing. A sentence that is easy to process may seem more truthful or more intelligent than a clumsy version of the same point. This is fluency at work. The mind likes ease, and it often mistakes ease for quality. That creates a real problem. A weak idea can sound impressive if it moves well. A strong idea can be ignored if it is explained badly. This is why presentation matters so much in teaching leadership and persuasion. It is also why people should pause before judging only by smoothness. Fluency is useful because clear expression often helps understanding, but it is not proof of depth. Sometimes the smartest thought in the room is the one still struggling to find the right words. The smell of clean spaces can encourage tidier behavior. A clean scent can act like a cue for turdiness itself. When people smell something associated with fresh rooms or cleaning products, they may become more likely to keep an area tidy. The scent activates a mental category, and that category can guide behavior. Someone may wipe crumbs more carefully or avoid leaving a mess because the environment already suggests order. This is a powerful example of priming. The signal does not need to be dramatic. It works in the background, below the level of deliberate instruction. A person may not think this smell is making me cleaner. They may simply behave a little more carefully. Of course, scent alone cannot overcome strong habits for a chaotic setting, but it can tilt the moment. Environments are full of cues that tell us what kind of behavior belongs there. A clean smell says this place is cared for. The body may respond by caring for it too. People remember stories better than lists of facts. A list gives the brain separate pieces to hold a story, gives those pieces a path. When information has a beginning, a cause, a consequence, and a human reason to matter, memory has more hooks. The mind can follow what happened and why. That structure makes recall easier because one part leads naturally to the next. This is why people may forget a set of instructions, but remember an example that shows someone using them. Stories also carry emotion. An emotion tells memory to save the material. The brain evolved in the social world. My lessons often came through events' warnings, successes, and mistakes. A story turns information into lived logic. It answers not only what is true, but why anyone should care. That is why teachers, leaders, and entertainers all rely on narrative facts of the bricks. Story is the shape that helps the mind keep them standing. A calm face can help calm another person. Emotions move between people through tiny signals. A calm face can tell another nervous system that the situation may be manageable. The effect is especially strong when the calm person is trusted or socially important. In that moment, a child looks to a caregiver after a loud noise, a patient watches a doctor's expression, a teen notices whether a leader looks shaken. The face becomes evidence about how serious the event is. This does not mean anyone should fake calm in dangerous situations. Real danger needs action, but in uncertain moments, a steady expression can reduce panic because it gives the brain a model to follow. Humans are constantly borrowing emotional information from each other. We look around and ask how are others reacting. If someone nearby appears grounded, the body may begin to settle. Calm is not only an inner state. Sometimes it is a signal that helps another person find their footing. Your mind can make silence feel socially loud. Silence is not empty. In a conversation, it can feel full of meaning because the brain rushes to interpret it. After a question, a pause may seem like judgment. After a confession, it may feel like rejection. During a meeting, it may suggest disagreement, even when people are only thinking. The discomfort comes from uncertainty. Humans use response timing as social information. A quick answer can feel warm or automatic. A delay can feel careful, awkward, or suspicious, depending on context. The mind does not like not knowing which meaning is correct, so it fills the silence with guesses. This is why people often speak too soon, explain too much, or soften their own point just to end the pause. Yet silence can also be useful. It gives thoughts room to form and emotions time to settle. Key is learning that a pause is not always a problem. Sometimes it is only space. People are kinder after recalling their own kindness. Remembering a generous act can make someone more likely to act generously again. The memory strengthens a helpful self-image. A person thinks, perhaps without saying it, I am someone who helps. Once that identity as active, kind behavior feels more natural and consistent. This can happen after recalling a time they supported a friend, gave to a stranger, or made a small sacrifice. The act does not need to be grand. What matters is that the person sees it as evidence of who they are. This is one reason reflection can shape behavior. The mind is always using past actions to answer the question, what kind of person am I? If the answer points toward kindness, the next opportunity may be easier to take. The effect is hopeful because it suggests goodness can build momentum. One remembered act can become more than a memory. It can become a reminder of the person someone wants to be. The brain reacts to unfair offers within moments. Before you have calmly reasoned through a bad deal, your brain may already be treating it like a social threat. Imagine someone offers to split a reward, but keeps nearly everything for themselves. Even if your share is still free money, the offer can feel insulting enough to reject. That reaction reveals how deeply fairness is built into social life. Humans do not only care about what they receive, they care about what the exchange says about respect, status, and future treatment. If unfairness is accepted too easily, the other person may learn that they can keep taking advantage. So the brain responds quickly, sometimes with anger or disgust, because the moment feels bigger than the reward itself. This is why children object so strongly to unequal treats, and why adults can walk away from deals that technically benefit them. Fairness is not a decorative rule. It is one of the emotional foundations that makes cooperation possible. People can feel phantom phone vibrations without a message. A pocket buzz can feel completely real, even when the phone has not moved. This strange experience happens because the brain is always trying to detect signals that matter. For many people, a phone alert may mean a friend, a job, a delivery, a warning, or a chance to respond. Over time, the body learns to treat that tiny vibration as important than ordinary sensations from clothing, muscles, or movement can be. Misread as the familiar buzz. The mind is not broken, it is being over-prepared. It has learned a pattern so well that it sometimes sees the pattern before it exists. This is a perfect modern example of expectation shaping perception. A device becomes so woven into daily attention that the body starts listening for it in the background. The most surprising part is how physical the illusion feels. He may reach for the phone before thought catches up because the nervous system has already sounded the alarm. A difficult font can sometimes improve careful reading. When text is slightly harder to read, the mind may slow down and pay closer attention. That extra effort can help people process certain material more carefully. A clear, easy font is best when speed and comfort matter, but when someone needs to study spot errors or avoid rushing a small amount of difficulty, can change the way attention behaves. The brain receives a signal that says, do not skim this, work with it. This idea is fascinating because we usually assume easier always means better. In reality, easy material can slide through the mind so smoothly that people mistake recognition for understanding. A slightly demanding presentation can interrupt that false confidence. It makes the reader engage. The effect has limits. If the font is too hard, people become frustrated and learning suffers. But the right amount of friction can be useful. Sometimes the mind remembers more because the page refuses to let it drift. People underestimate how contagious stress can be. Stress does not always stay inside one person. It can move through a room by voice expression, pace, and posture. Someone who enters a conversation tense and hurried can make others feel more alert without meaning to. A worried parent can make a child uneasy before the child understands the problem. A nervous leader can change the mood of a whole team. This happens because humans are built to monitor one another for signs of safety or danger. If another body seems activated, your body may prepare to. The effect can be useful when a real threat exists, because shared alertness helps groups respond quickly. But it can also spread pressure where no action is needed. One person's urgency becomes everyone's urgency. The powerful lesson is that emotional regulation is not only private. Calming yourself can be a social act. When your nervous system settles, it may give the people around you permission to settle as well. Your brain uses past emotions to predict future feelings. When you imagine tomorrow, your mind does not start from nothing. It uses emotional memories to forecast how something might feel. If a place once made you anxious, brain may expect anxiety before you arrive again. If a person once made you feel valued, you may look forward to seeing them before anything happens. This forecasting is helpful because it lets you prepare, but it is not always accurate. The brain can overuse old emotional data, especially when a memory is strong. A situation that is changed may still feel dangerous because the old feeling arrives first. A choice that once brought pleasure may still seem appealing long after it has stopped helping. This is why people sometimes avoid harmless things or repeat unsatisfying patterns. The past becomes a weather report for the future, but the forecast can be wrong. Emotional prediction is powerful because it feels like knowledge. Often it is only history speaking early. A simple apology can lower anger surprisingly fast. An apology can change the emotional meaning of a hurtful moment. When someone says they are sorry clearly and sincerely, the other person may feel that the damage has been seen, that recognition matters. Anger often grows when a person feels ignored, dismissed, or treated as if their pain does not count. A good apology does not erase the event. It tells the brain that the social relationship may be repairable. The body can reduce its defensive posture because the threat no longer feels denied. The most powerful apologies are specific. They name the action, accept responsibility, and show that the person understands the effect. A vague apology can make anger worse because it feels like escape, but a real one can open a path. It turns a fight from you do not care into perhaps you understand. That shift can happen quickly because human beings are deeply tuned to signs of repair after social injury. People notice moving objects before still ones. Movement has priority because it can change what happens next. A still object may be harmless for the moment, but a moving one is heading somewhere. The brain detects motion quickly because it once mattered for survival. Something moving could be food, a falling branch, a person approaching, or a danger entering the edge of vision. Even today, movement pulls attention in traffic sport crowds and screens. This is why a flashing cursor, a waving hand, or a sudden shift on a phone can capture your eyes before you decide to look. Motion tells the brain that the scene is updating, the object has a direction, and direction creates urgency. This ability is useful, but it is also easily exploited. Modern media uses movement to drag attention from one thing to another. The ancient system that helped people track a changing world now helps notifications, adverts, and videos interrupt thought. Movement still says, look now. Loneliness can make faces look less welcoming. When someone feels lonely, the social world can begin to seem colder than it really is. The brain becomes more alert to possible rejection because it is trying to protect the person from further hurt. A neutral face may look unfriendly. A short reply may feel like distance. A passing glance may seem critical. This creates a painful loop. Loneliness makes connection feel risky, and that risk can make the person withdraw further. The perception is not deliberate. The mind is reading the world through a guarded state. It is like turning up the sensitivity on a threat detector. The problem is that human connection often begins with ambiguous signals. A quiet face might mean tiredness, thoughtfulness, or nothing at all. The lonely brain may choose the most painful interpretation. Understanding this can be freeing. The world may not be as rejecting as it feels in that moment. Sometimes the feeling is real, but the reading is too harsh. The brain can treat stories like lived experience. A good story does not remain outside the mind. As you follow a character through danger, discovery, loss, or relief, your brain can simulate parts of the experience. You may feel tension in your body when nothing is happening to you. You may care about a person who does not exist. You may learn from a mistake you never made. This is one reason stories are such powerful teachers. They let the mind practice emotional and social situations from a safe distance. A child hearing a tale about honesty is not only receiving a rule, they are feeling what the rule means inside an event. Adults do the same with novels, films, documentaries, and personal anecdotes. Stories organize cause and consequence in a way the brain can inhabit. The boundary between hearing and experiencing becomes thinner than it seems. You are sitting still, but the mind is moving through a world it built from words. People often remember praise less vividly than criticism. A kind comment may fade quickly, while one sharp remark can replay for years. This happens because the brain gives extra weight to negative information. Criticism can signal a threat to belonging, competence, or reputation, so memory marks it as important. Praise feels good, but it may not demand the same urgent protection. This imbalance can be painful. A person might receive many supportive comments and still fixate on the one that hurt. The mind is not being fair, it is being cautious. It would rather overlearn a possible danger than miss a social warning. The problem is that modern life contains far more casual criticism than true danger. A careless sentence from someone else can become far too powerful. One helpful practice is to spend more time with positive feedback. When it arrives, let it land, repeat it, write it down. Praise may need deliberate attention because criticism arrives with its own spotlight already attached. A small choice can make people feel more motivated. Choice gives effort a sense of ownership. When people are allowed to pick even a small part of a task, they often feel more willing to continue. A student may work harder after choosing which problem to start with. A patient may feel more engaged after choosing the time of an appointment. A worker may approach a routine job differently if they can decide the order of steps. The choice does not need to be large. It simply tells the brain, I have some control here. That feeling can change the emotional meaning of effort. A demanded task may feel like pressure. A chosen task can feel more like participation. This is why good teachers, parents, and leaders often offer structured choices rather than endless freedom. Too many options can overwhelm, but no choice can drain motivation. The sweet spot is agency with direction. When people feel involved in the action begins to feel more theirs. Your mind can mistake repetition for credibility. A statement can start to feel true simply because it has been heard before. Repetition creates familiarity, and familiarity is easy for the brain to process. That ease can be misread as trustworthiness. This is called the illusory truth effect. It helps explain why rumors, slogans, and repeated claims can become believable even when evidence is weak. The first time you hear something, you may doubt it. The fourth time, it may feel less strange. The 10th time, it may seem like something everyone knows. The danger is that the feeling of familiarity can appear without a memory of where the claim came from. You may remember the statement, but forget that the source was unreliable. This is why repetition is so powerful in advertising, politics, and gossip. The defense is simple but difficult. Ask where the idea came from. A sentence being familiar does not make it true. It only means your brain has met it before. People spend longer looking at faces than objects. Faces are among the most important things in the visual world. They can reveal attention, identity, emotion, intention, and response. Because of that, the brain gives them special priority. In a room full of objects, a face can pull the eye because it may carry social information you need right now. Is this person friendly? Are they surprised? Have they noticed you? Are they about to speak? Objects matter too, but most objects do not. Look back. A face creates the possibility of exchange. This is why portraits can feel more alive than landscapes, and why people often notice faces in photographs before anything else. Even babies show strong interest in face. Like patterns, the human brain grows inside relationships, so it becomes expert at reading the human front. Looking at faces is not mere curiosity, it is social navigation. Each face may contain clues about where you stand in the moment. A good question can become mentally hard to ignore. The moment a question feels interesting, the mind begins searching for closure. It may keep working in the background while you do something else. This is why a puzzle, a mystery, or a half-answered thought can follow you around. The question creates a gap, and the brain dislikes leaving meaningful gaps open. That tension pulls attention back again and again. A good question also changes what you notice. If someone asks you how many red things are in the room, red objects suddenly appear everywhere. The world did not change. Your attention did. This is why questions are such powerful tools for learning and persuasion. They do not just deliver information, they aim the mind. A boring answer can end a thought. A strong question can start one that keeps unfolding. Sometimes the most powerful sentence is not a fact at all. It is the question that makes the brain want the fact. The brain prepares answers before questions are finished. In conversation, people often begin building a response while the other person is still speaking. The brain predicts where the sentence is going, what the speaker probably means, and what kind of reply will be needed. This speed helps conversation flow. If everyone waited until the final word, then started thinking, ordinary talk would be full of long gaps. Prediction lets us respond smoothly, but it also creates trouble. Sometimes the brain prepares for the wrong ending. You may interrupt with an answer that does not fit. You may assume criticism when the person was actually asking for help. You may hear the start of a familiar complaint and stop listening too early. The mind values speed, but understanding sometimes needs patience. Good listening means noticing the urge to answer before the question is complete. That urge is natural. It is also incomplete information, pretending to be readiness. The next word may still change everything. People can recognize fake laughter more often than expected. Laughter carries more information than amusement alone. Real spontaneous laughter has a different sound from laughter produced on purpose. It often has less control, more breath, and a rhythm that is harder to manufacture. Listeners can pick up on those differences better than many people assume. This skill matters because laughter is a social signal. It tells others whether a moment is playful, whether a bond is forming, or whether someone is only being polite. Fake laughter is not always bad. People use it to smooth awkward moments, show kindness, or keep conversation moving. But the brain still listens for authenticity. A forced laugh may work at the surface while leaving a small feeling that something did not fully land. This is why shared real laughter can feel so bonding. It is difficult to fake perfectly because the body is involved. Genuine laughter escapes more than it performs. The ear often knows the difference. A tidy room can make rules feel more important. Order in the environment can nudge people toward orderly behavior. A tidy room suggests that norms are being maintained. It says this is a place where care and control are expected. That message can make rules feel more present. People may become more likely to follow instructions, sort objects correctly, or behave in a way that fits the setting. The room does not have to speak its condition, is the cue. This is why schools, clinics, offices, and public spaces often use cleanliness and arrangement to shape behavior. The effect can work in the other direction too. A neglected environment can imply that nobody is paying attention, which may make careless behavior feel easier. People are not only guided by beliefs inside their heads, they are guided by what surroundings seem to permit. A tidy space can become a silent reminder that actions have standards. Sometimes the rule book is not on the wall, it is in the room. Your expectations can change how much pain you feel. Pain is not only a signal from the body, it is also an interpretation made by the brain. If you expect something to hurt badly, the pain may feel stronger. If you believe relief is coming, the experience can sometimes become more manageable. This does not mean pain is imaginary. It means the brain evaluates danger, attention, emotion, and context before deciding how intense the signal should feel. A medical procedure can hurt more when a person is frightened and less when they feel informed and safe. The same pressure can feel different depending on whether it is expected, chosen, or surprising. This is why reassurance, explanation, and trust can matter in care. They do not merely comfort the mind, they can change the way the body signals. A processed pain is real, but it is not a simple volume knob. It is a protective experience shaped by what the brain believes is happening. People feel closer after sharing slightly awkward moments. A small awkward moment can make people feel more human to each other. When two people laugh after a clumsy introduction, admit confusion, or survive a minor social slip, together the tension can turn into connection. The key is that the awkwardness must feel safe. If nobody is humiliated, the moment can reveal vulnerability without serious threat. That shared vulnerability says we have both stepped outside the polished version of ourselves. This can build closeness because people often bond through moments that feel real rather than perfect. Smooth interaction is pleasant, but small imperfection can create a story. Friends often remember the strange beginning, the mistaken doorway, or the sentence that came out wrong. It becomes proof that the relationship can handle a little mess. Awkwardness feels dangerous because the mind fears judgment. Yet when it is met with warmth, it can do the opposite. It can make two people feel less alone inside the performance. The brain can turn habits into automatic shortcuts. At first, a new behavior needs attention. You think through the steps, correct mistakes, and decide what comes next. But with repetition, the brain can compress the action into a routine. The cue appears, the behavior starts, and the mind does not have to negotiate every detail. This is why you can brush your teeth, unlock a door, or take a familiar route while thinking about something else. Habits save mental energy, allow daily life to run without constant decision-making. The same shortcut can also trap people. A snack, a phone check, or a sharp reply can begin before conscious choice has fully arrived. The brain is not asking whether the behavior fits your goals. It is following the pathway that has become easy. Changing a habit means interrupting the cue, the routine, or the reward that keeps it alive. Habits show a strange truth about identity. Much of life is practiced into automatic motion. A gentle touch can change how trustworthy someone seems. A brief, appropriate touch can make an interaction feel warmer. A light touch on the arm during a friendly exchange may increase cooperation, generosity, or positive feeling. In some situations, the effect depends heavily on culture, context, relationship, and consent. When touch is welcome, it can signal safety and attention faster than words. The body receives social information through contact from early life. Caring touch is linked with comfort and protection, so a small physical signal can carry emotional meaning. This is why a handshake, a reassuring pat, or a steady hand on a shoulder can feel significant. But touch is powerful precisely because it enters personal space. If it is unwanted, it can reduce trust immediately. The psychology is not that touch is always good. The psychology is that the body treats touch as important information when the context is right. A tiny moment of contact can make another person seem more human and less distant. People remember embarrassing moments as worse than observers do embarrassment. Magnifies the self. When something awkward happens, you experience the heat in your face, the rush of panic, and the frantic replay inside your mind. Observers usually receive a much smaller event. They see a stumble, a wrong word, or a brief mistake, and return to their own concerns. The difference is huge. To you, the moment feels like a headline. To them, it may barely become a footnote. This happens because you have access to your internal alarm, while others only see the outside. They do not feel the full intensity you feel, so they do not store it with the same force. Most people are also kinder and less focused than embarrassment predicts. They know what awkwardness feels like because they have their own examples. The mind replays embarrassing moments as if replaying will prevent future pain, but often it only keeps a small event alive. Long after the audience has gone home, your mind wanders during nearly half of waking life. Even when you are supposed to be focused, the mind often slips away. It drifts into plans, memories, imagined conversations, worries, and random fragments of thought. This wandering can seem like failure, but it is part of normal mental life. The brain uses free moments to simulate possibilities, rehearse future actions, and connect ideas that are not in front of you. That is why a wandering mind can sometimes solve problems indirectly, but it can also pull people away from the present, especially when it circles around regret or anxiety. The strange part is how often it happens. You may be reading, walking, washing a cup, or listening to someone speak, and suddenly realize your attention has been elsewhere. Conscious life is not a steady beam. It is more like a spotlight that keeps sliding. The challenge is not to stop wandering forever. It is to notice where the mind has gone and decide whether to bring it back. People can learn fear from watching someone else. You do not need to be bitten by a dog to become afraid of one. Watching another person react with fear can teach the brain that something may be dangerous. This is called observational learning, and it is one of the fastest ways humans absorb warnings. A child may fear an insect after seeing a parent panic. An adult may become cautious in a place after watching others look alarmed. This ability is useful because direct experience can be costly. Learning from someone else's fear may help you avoid harm before harm reaches you, but he can also spread fears that are exaggerated or unnecessary. The brain does not always know whether the other person's reaction is accurate. It only knows that someone nearby treated the situation as important. Social fear can move quickly through families, crowds, and communities. It shows that courage and anxiety are not purely private. We inherit some of our alarms by watching the people around us. A mirror can make private choices feel public. When people see their own reflection, they may become more aware of how their actions line up with their values. A choice that felt private can suddenly feel observed even if no one else is there. The mirror brings the self into the situation. It can make a person think, "This is me doing this." That shift can change behavior. Someone may become less likely to cheat litter or break a small rule. When self-awareness is high, the reflection does not force morality. It simply makes excuses harder to hide behind. Many questionable actions depend on a moment of mental distance. People act first and avoid fully seeing themselves in the act. A mirror closes that distance. It turns behavior into something witnessed by the person who must live with it. This is why self-awareness can be uncomfortable. It asks for consistency between the person you believe you are and the action happening right now. The brain notices babies' faces especially quickly. A baby's face can capture adult attention with unusual speed. Large eyes, round cheeks, and small features trigger care-giving responses. In many people, the brain treats these signals as important because infants depend completely on others for survival. A tiny change in a baby's expression can matter. Is the child hungry, frightened, tired, interested? Adults are tuned to notice even when the baby is not in the room. This sensitivity helps explain why baby photos are so attention-grabbing and why a crying infant can become impossible to ignore. The response is not only sentimental, it is practical biology shaped into perception. Human babies need long care, and adult attention is part of that care system. The face becomes a powerful core for protection. Of course, not every person reacts in the same way, and context matters. Still, the pull is remarkable. Among countless things the eyes could choose, the brain often gives the smallest human face priority. People believe explanations more when they sound simple. A simple explanation can feel satisfying because the brain can hold it easily. When an idea is clear, orderly, and quick to understand, people may judge it as more likely to be true. This is helpful when the simple explanation is also accurate, but the world is often complicated, and a smooth answer can hide missing pieces. A person may prefer a neat story about why something happened because it reduces uncertainty. The explanation feels good, so the mind relaxes. That feeling can be mistaken for proof. This is why oversimplified claims spread so easily. They give people a sense of control without requiring much effort. A more careful answer may sound less confident because it includes limits, conditions, and exceptions. Yet that careful answer may be closer to reality. Challenge is learning to enjoy clarity without worshiping simplicity. A good explanation should be understandable, but it should not become smaller than the truth it is trying to explain. A familiar brand can make identical products feel better. The brain does not experience products in isolation. It brings expectations to them. If someone believes a drink, snack, or device comes from a brand, they trust the experience may feel better. Before the product has proved itself, the logo becomes a promise. It carries memories of adverts, past purchases, social approval, and personal identity. When the product is used, those meanings can blend with the senses. The taste may seem richer, the design may feel more reliable, the choice may feel smarter. This does not mean quality never matters. Strong brands often become strong because people have had good experiences. But once the expectation exists, it can shape the next experience from the inside. This is why blind tests can surprise people. Remove the label, and the difference may shrink or change. Branding is not only persuasion before a purchase, it can become part of perception after the purchase begins. Your brain can make future rewards feel strangely distant. A reward tomorrow can feel less real than a smaller pleasure today. The brain discounts the future because immediate experiences have stronger emotional presence. You can feel tonight's comfort. Now you can only imagine next year's benefit. That distance changes decisions. Saving money, building skills, eating well, or practicing patiently all require caring about a version of life. That has not arrived yet. The future reward may be larger, but it lacks the vivid pull of the present. This is why deadlines work. They drag the future closer until action feels necessary. It is also why visual reminders, specific plans, and clear milestones can help. They make the later reward easier to feel. The brain is not foolish for favoring now in uncertain environments. Immediate rewards once mattered greatly, but modern goals often depend on protecting the future from the present. Success can begin when the distant reward becomes emotionally close enough to compete. People become more honest when signatures come first. Where a signature appears can change how truthful people are. When someone signs at the end of a form, the honest behavior has already happened or not happened. A signature becomes a closing formality. But when the signature comes first, it can activate identity before the choices are made. The person is reminded, I am putting my name to this. That moment of self-awareness can reduce dishonesty because the next answers feel connected to personal integrity. It is a small design change for the powerful lesson. People do not always lie because they have decided to be dishonest. Sometimes they drift into small distortions when the situation makes honesty feel vague. A signature at the beginning makes the standard clearer. It brings the future judgment of the self into the present. The form has not become moral by magic. It has simply asked the person to see themselves before they act. Sometimes honesty improves when identity arrives early. And so we have reached the end of this strange little journey through the mind. We have seen how the brain edits the world before we notice it. We have seen how memories can shift, how attention can miss the obvious, and how tiny signals can change what we feel. Choose and believe a color, a voice, a question, a scent, or a single word can quietly guide the way the mind builds. Reality psychology can feel surprising because it reveals that ordinary life is not as simple as it seems. A crowded room can change responsibility. A familiar song can loop through thought. A future reward can feel distant. A face, a pause, or a small act of kindness can alter the whole feeling of a moment. And now, after all those hidden patterns and curious turns, there is nothing more you need to solve. Let the facts settle behind you, like pages closing at the end of a long evening, that the mind stop reaching for the next answer. Let the body notice that this moment asks very little from you. Take a slow breath and let it leave without effort. Feel your shoulders soften and allow your face to loosen. The day can step back now. Your thoughts can drift at their own pace. You do not need to follow them. If you enjoyed this journey, you are welcome to like, subscribe, or leave a thought below. It helps other sleepy souls find their way here too. And if you happen to still be awake, there will be another video on screen for you to drift into next. For now, let everything become still. Let your breathing slow. Let your mind rest. Sleep well and good night.